I did want to ask you about the descriptions and the prose throughout. Because back when I wrote reviews, I would put all my favorite passages listed, and this would have been an impossible book to review because I love all the passages.
Thank you.
So, how long did it take you to write this book, and then how much time are you spending on your prose, and how are you creating these whole pages? Just, oh my God, highlight the whole thing. It's all beautiful.
Thank you. So how long did it take? Well, that's kind of a complicated question with this book. So this book has gone through many different iterations, and it's been a number of years that I've been trying to figure out sort of where this book belongs. And so there were a few years where I was trying to figure out whether Trowbridge Road was a story for adults or a story for children. And so that was a number of years. And once I found Candlewick Press, and once I found my editor, Liz Bicknell, and she's this incredible, wise, knowledgeable, brave woman who knows how to get a story out of a stone. It wasn't a stone, but she really knew how to help me carve this story. It took from the time that Liz Bicknell took the book to when we were ready for publication, it was about a year and a half. Once I found a home for the book.
Just how long had you spent writing it prior to that?
Well, I probably around 3 years in different drafts of it. So, I mean, all told, I would say that Trowbridge Road took about 5 years to write, to get it right. And then your question about the prose, I write really slowly. So I usually write a paragraph and then I stop and then I read it out loud, and then I play with the paragraph and I play inside the paragraph and I think about the sounds and the images, and I don't move on to the next one until I'm finished with the first one. So a lot of people in their process have like a messy first draft, but I've always been kind of meticulous in my drafting so that it's right before I move on to the next part. So I write really slowly and I spend a lot of time on those, making the passages sing in the way that I want them to.
So do you outline ahead of time so you have a clear track? Do you know where you're going to get to with most of your books, or with this one in particular?
No, I never do that. I wish I did. I think that I would have more books written if I was that kind of writer. Usually I start off with a question, like what would happen if? So with this one is, what would happen if a girl who was hungry for being nurtured found herself in a position where she didn't get what she was needing? So like a question about how a person might live their life. And then I create a character that will allow me to explore that question. And so Trowbridge Road was born out of that kind of questioning.
So what happens, and maybe this never happens, but what happens if you write a scene that you love but doesn't work with the overall plot or needs to be changed later, and you spent the time polishing it, and it's finely tuned, hasn't been necessarily edited by Liz Bicknell yet, but you spent quite a bit of time on it. Does it just break your heart? Do you put it in a folder for another book? What happens?
You just have to kill those darlings. You just have to kill them. That's what Gertrude Stein said. Yeah, you have to be willing to, if it doesn't work, it just has to go. And it's just part of the process. And so there are scenes that never made it into Trowbridge Road. All of my books have scenes that I worked really hard on that just didn't make it, but that's part of the process. And maybe they become other pieces of writing, but they're definitely part of my learning process.
That is a very optimistic way to put that. I'm stealing that too. That's 3 things that are getting stolen.
Woohoo! Steal away.
So far. The night is young.
Yeah, I'm not the kind of
those things. Or do they ever see the light of the day? Are they all being saved for the Marcella Pixley library when that's established?
No, they just kind of go away, and they live in my file called old drafts. And so far, I haven't gone back to any of them, actually, because I've gone on to new stories, but maybe someday. I mean, there are some scenes from Ready to Fall, which was my previous book, that I really loved that didn't make it into the book. And sometimes I've thought, I wonder if that scene could be the beginning of something else, and who knows. But I just see it as part of the process of the book that I'm working on at the time. It doesn't all get used, kind of like a film.
I am intimidated by your toughness. I don't know that No,
you just have to believe it. It's like you just have to believe in the process. You have to have faith in the process, that you don't always know where it's going to go. It's not always going to go right. There's going to be days where you can't write. There's going to be things that feel right and then end up being not right, and you have to take them out. And to me, that's just kind of part of the magic of it, is that you have to believe that you're going to end up somewhere. And if you're lucky, you get there.